Speech, and then there's hate speech. And there is no place, especially now, especially after what happened to Charlie, in our society.
Do you see more law enforcement going after these groups who are using hate speech and putting cuffs on people so we show them that some action is better than no action?
We will absolutely target you, go after you, if you are targeting anyone with hate speech, anything. And that's across the aisle. Speech, and then
All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Racha, Wadash. Double honors and salutations to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Much respect to you brothers out on the highways and byways pushing this truth with fear and sincerity. And shalom to the hopeful elect. It's your brother Khalak Hart of GMS Northwest. Come back at you with another video. And you saw from the beginning, or you seeing this live picture right now, this video of Pam Bondi, discussing what's going to be the consequences for so-called hate speech, what they deem as hate speech, the consequences of it. And she just made a statement saying that she's going to come after, or they're going to come after whoever, is caught, making hateful types of speeches, hate crimes, hate this, hate. When you go into the word hate, it just means a strong disagreement. Apostle Tahar been, in his last couple of videos lately, he's been saying, learn how to speak in code. We already been speaking in code. We already have our code words when we do speak. But not only that, having discernment and whatnot. Because, you have people that come up on you. Or I remember we was at camp one day and, Eve and an Edomite couple drove up on us. And the man Edomite was like, oh, you guys hate, white people. And it was like, nah, we don't hate white people. We hate Edomites. And he was stunned. He didn't know what's that? What is, he didn't know what to say after that. And that's, speaking, it's not a code, but it's a code. We say the so-called white man because we know his identity. He's not white. He's different shades different shades. He's red. That's what the term Edom, or Esau, he is wasted away. Edom goes back to, red as well. Because Esau ate the porridge of Jacob that wasn't done. The meat wasn't finished all the way. So called him Edom for red because the meat was red. And you can see Edomites today, they love raw. They love, uncooked meat. A lot of Edomites show that they love that, whatnot. But back into this, with that Charlie Kirk incident happening, being unalived, and going into some of his debates and whatnot, he started to put the spotlight on the small hats. That's another thing we use, the small hats. The 1948ers, the You Wish. He started to put a little bit of spotlight on them, and you know what happens when you talk about them. So, but that's crazy. The left, somebody on the left, took him out, so to speak. That's another. You got to talk in codes because you don't want to be part of. You out there on the highways and byways, or you doing any videos, you get a knock at the door, and hey, you said something about, such and such. Now, your job is being jeopardized. You know, your whole reputation of who you are in this, you know, in Esau's, Edom's world, in the Babylon the Great, you know, it's being jeopardized, and you you find yourself jobless. And you can't take care of yourself. You know, we know those days are coming to the men of the Lord. You know, the persecution. You know, because this is going to continue. You know, what is it in the scripture? It's mischief on mischief. Ezekiel 7. I think around the 20. Yeah. Ezekiel 7, and I'll start at 25. Destruction cometh, and they shall seek peace, and there shall be none. Verse 26 is the point. Mischief shall come upon mischief, and rumor shall be upon rumor. Then shall they seek a vision of a prophet, but the law shall perish from the priests, and the counsel from the ancients. You know, this counsel, this understanding. You know, but more mischief is going to happen upon mischief, and more rumors upon rumors. You know, because rumor this. Same thing with the stabbing on the train. There's a rumor this and a rumor that, and Charlie Cartman is a rumor this. It's more mischief. And people are seeking for answers. People are seeking, but the Lord sooner or later, with that statement that Pam Bondi is making, which she don't know what the hell she's talking about. You still got the First Amendment out here and whatnot. But they're going to find a way to do away with that. They're going to find a way to do away with that. And, when I say we being the men of the Lord, Abaratazah, I'm one of those men. We've been given the unction from the Holy One, right? We've been given the unction from the Holy One to understand what the hell is going on. That's in 1 John 2. Yeah, let me get in the blue letter so I can look up a term. 1 John 2. Look up that word unction. 1 John 2 and 20. But ye have an unction from the Holy One, and ye know all things. And when you look up that word unction, it goes into oil. Charisma.
Strong's G 5545. Charisma. Charisma.
It's what these youngins call today riz. Charisma. Riz. Let me riz you up. Anything smeared on unguent, ointment usually prepared by the Hebrews from oil and aromatic herbs. Anointing was the inaugural ceremony for priests. So we got that oil. And we know the parable in Matthew 25 about the oil. The 5 wise virgins and the 5 unwise virgins took their oil, took their lamps and put oil in it. So it's that understanding, so the Lord has given us the understanding of what the hell is going on, and we filter it through the scriptures. So when they come out and use words like Pam Bondi is using,
with hate, he will absolutely target you, go after you if you are targeting anyone with hate speech.
we know that this is leading to what? The famine of the word. Let me read verse 21. We can get famine of the verses. 1 John 2 and 20, it says, but ye have an unction from the Holy One. Who's the Holy One? It's the Heavenly Father and His only begotten Son. Through His only begotten Son. Or Yahweh Shah through the Father. Yahweh Wah, Yahweh Shah. But ye have an unction from the Holy One, and ye know all things. So we understand what times we're in. We understand that it's getting closer and closer to the famine of the word. Verse 21 says, I have not written unto you because ye know not the truth, but because ye know it, and there is no lie, or there is no lie is of the truth. So we're getting this understanding. We're getting these breakdowns because the Lord is supping with us, or we want to sup with the Lord, you know. But going into that, famine of the word, what's that, Amos 8? Like I read in Ezekiel, it said, Ezekiel, the OG, Ezekiel 7:26, mischief shall come upon mischief, and rumor shall be upon rumor. And then shall they seek a vision of the prophet, but the law shall perish from the priests, and the counsel from the ancients. Amos 8:11, behold, the days come, saith the Lord, power, that I will send a famine in the land, not a famine of bread, nor a thirst of water, but of hearing the words of the Lord, Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushua. So there's this time is upon us. It's getting closer and closer. Like we just read in Ezekiel, there's going to be more mischief upon mischief, more rumor upon rumor. So more crazy ass shit happening. You know, we're in those times. You know, so the devil knows he has a short time. So what? He's going to come down with great wrath. He's going to continue to come down with great wrath. That's why it's imperative to get this understanding. Get this understanding now. Back in Ezekiel 3, or back in Ezekiel, I read 17, then I jump down to 26. Ezekiel 3:17, Son of man, I have made thee a watchman unto the house of Israel. Therefore hear the word of my mouth and give them warning from me. We're warning you, you Israelites, you so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, and you ones that scattered around the four corners of the globe, Salakia, that the famine of the word is coming. The prophet's not going to be out there much longer. You know, we're not going to be out there on the highways and byways giving you this understanding. You're not going to be on the YouTube with this understanding. You know, the Lord is slowly closing the gate. You know, jumping down to 26. It says, Ezekiel 3:26, and I will make thy tongue cleave to the roof of thy mouth, that thou shalt be dumb, and shalt not be able to them a reprover, for they are a rebellious house. So the Lord is going to make our tongue cleave to the roof of our mouth. You know, he's going to make sure that his word is not going out. That seal is the sealing. You know, it's been sealed. Verse 27 says, but when I speak with thee, I will open thy mouth, and thou shalt say unto them, thus say the Lord power. He that heareth, let him hear, and he that forbeareth, let him forbear, for they are a rebellious house. So the ones that's going to get this understanding, they're going to get it. But you ones that don't get it, you're going to be searching. You're going to be searching for that understanding. You're going to be searching for the men of the Lord. You're going to be like, wasn't they out there on that corner right there? Now they not here? What's going on? It's going to be too late for you because you forsook the Lord. You didn't listen to the prophets. Now Jacob's trouble is among you. Everything closing down. All shops are closing down. Your job, you can't go to your job. All you got to do is sit at home. You can't even pay your bills. And then that MOTB comes in the midst of World War III. So all of this you're neglecting from the prophets. The Lord is going to neglect you. Remember, the Lord said his people are Sodom's children. You don't know the Lord. And that's why this is all going to happen. You know? But like I said, we have that unction. We have the understanding. Now, another thing I want to pull out is these podcasters. You know, these podcasters are beginning to become scared. You know, if you listen to this Myron Gaines, here, let's play this real quick.
You guys have my word. I promise you guys. And I got to be a little bit honest here too with this. I've been reckless. I've been very reckless with a lot of the shit that I do. I used to work in law enforcement. I think no one can touch me. There's a lot of times where I don't even hire security. I just go out there dolo and just do it, whether it's doing the street debates or whatever. I promise you guys, I'll start taking my safety more seriously. And given the fact that like me and Charlie do pretty much the same thing when it comes to these college debates, I will take my safety more seriously, guys, and hire security and all that. You guys have my...
So, as you just heard, this podcaster, Myron Gaines, is stating that he's going to use security. Like, that's going to stop a man from 200 yards away. You know, he's going to use security to, you know, in case anything happened to him. Well, that's a false hope. That's a false sign of security. You know, here it is, you know, the Lord, because he goes out there and debate with people and just, you know, very, very kind of bigot or kind of over the top sometimes. Not over the top, but he be saying some stuff. But, you know, the scriptures tell you, and I think Timothy, the second chapter, 2 Timothy 2. A man of the Lord shall not strive. Yeah, 2 Timothy 2 and 24. I'm reading in the NLT. It says, a servant of the Lord must not quarrel, but must be kind to everyone and be able to teach and be patient with difficult people. Now that word quarrel goes back to debate, scribe, you know, in KJV, debating. So we're not supposed to be debating with people. We're supposed to, you know, tell them the truth, and if they can receive it, they can receive it. If they can't, you got to go up the street. But when we are dealing with people, you're supposed to be, you know, take one thing at a time. Like, don't try to force feed them all, you know, and being rude about it. Because the next verse even explains it. The next verse says, here, I'm going to start it from 24 again, then read through. 2 Timothy 2 and 24, a servant of the Lord must not quarrel, but must be kind to everyone, be able to teach and be patient with difficult people, gently instruct those who oppose the truth. Perhaps the Most High will change those people's hearts, and they will learn the truth. Then they will come to their senses and escape from the devil's trap, for they have been held captive by him to do whatever he wants. And that's cold, because that lets you know that the Lord is the one that's in charge and turning people's minds, not you. You might plant a seed. We plant the seed, but it's the Lord, because that individual is meek. That individual is sincere. That individual really wants to learn. The Lord ain't gonna give you his understanding if you don't want to learn. You know, he's not gonna give you that understanding if you're not sincerely, you know, about it. Lock you. But going back into verse 24, we're not supposed to be debating out there. And these debaters, they're scared.
My
listen
word,
to
I
him.
promise you guys, and I gotta be a little bit honest here too with this. I've been reckless. I've been very reckless with a lot of the shit that I do. I used to work in law enforcement. I think no one can touch me. There's a lot of times where I don't even hire security. I just go out there dolo and just do it, whether it's doing a street debate
He ain't nothing but an agent, man.
or whatever. I promise you guys, I'll start taking my safety more seriously. And given the fact that like me and Charlie do pretty much the same thing when it comes to these college
But ultimately, I mean, at the end of the day, you know, if you're scared, you know, because the men of the Lord are not scared. It says the men of the Lord are what? Bold as lions. That's spell lions wrong. Proverbs 28:1. It says, "The wicked flee when no man pursueth, but the righteous are bold as lions, as a lion." In the NLT, it says, "The wicked run away when no one is chasing them, but the godly are bold as lions." So we're not gonna. We know what we teach. We know what's going on. You know, but at the end of the day, we know we got Psalms 91 in our back pocket. Psalms 91:1, it says, "He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty." And what's the secret place? It's this truth. It's this understanding. That's the secret place. I will say the Lord, Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, He is my refuge and my fortress, my power, in Him I trust. No, I trust in security. We need security. We need guns. Who is it? Sakari having, you know, automatic rifles. You know, at camp. Lord told Peter to put away his sword. If this was His kingdom, my servants will fight. If this was the Lord's kingdom, we'll be getting down, man. We'll be doing Psalms 144. The Lord teaches my fingers to fight. You know, we'll be getting down, but this is not our kingdom. We got to fight this devil. We got to fight the principalities. Our weapons of warfare are spiritual, not carnal. So with standing at the secret place, which is this truth, we don't have to worry about people running up on us and trying to do something devilish, you know, some evil. You know, another one, Psalms 34? Psalms 34:7. The angel, Psalms 34:7, it says, I'm reading NLT, it says, "For the angel of the Lord is a guard. He surrounds and defends all who fear Him." You hear that? The angel of the Lord is a guard. You know, so we know we live in Babylon the Great. We know there's haters out there. I remember a couple years ago, his brother was doing a live, you know, a brother out there by himself, and a Muslim walked up on him and, you know, tried to fight him, tried to beat him up, man, because he was stepping on the book. You know, and you gotta, with things like that, you just gotta be mindful. Like, if a Muslim come up and you got the Quran there and you just stepping on it, you know, you doing all types of stuff to it, you know, that's bold. But that man put the beats on him for a second until he got him up off of him. You know, so we gotta be a little bit, you know, learn to speak in code. You know, Apostle Tahar talks about it all the time. You know, how people come up and you see they on bullshit and like you flip the script on them. You play a fiddle on them, man. You know, but just, you know, the angel of the Lord encamp around them that fear Him. You know, going back to one of these other podcasters. Oh, I had this too. Hate speech does not. This is from Charlie Kirk. It says hate speech does not exist legally in America. There's ugly speech, there's gross speech, there's evil speech, and all of it is protected by the First Amendment. Keep America free. But this, what is she talking about then?
Speech. And there is no place, especially now, especially after what happened to Charlie, in our society.
Do you see more law enforcement going after these groups who are using hate speech and putting cuffs on people, so we show them that some action is better than no action?
We will absolutely target you, go
Absolutely
after you if
target
you
you.
are targeted.
Absolutely do this. Absolutely do that. Shut up, bitch. Look at this.
Left me scared. Scared. You know, because a lot left me scared. Left me scared. You know, because a lot of people go out and put themselves out in front of the public, and we all do. We do it when we walk down the street. We do it when we take our dog to the dog park. You do it when, you know, if you step on a stage and read a poem or sing a song or anything. And that's kind of, I think that's what it was. It's like, it just like, that's supposed to be something that's kind of safe, right? To be able to have a voice, to say something. And whether people may agree with it or not. I didn't know Charlie. I'd never gotten to meet him. I didn't know. I know we had different beliefs on some things. I didn't know a lot of his stuff, you know. But scared.
Why they keep bouncing the camera? But you saw that, man. These podcasters are scared when, if you're scared to speak your truth, man, you lost in the sauce. You ain't no disciple of the Lord. That's for sure. You know, because the men of the Lord, like it says in Proverbs 28, bold as lions, man. We're not gonna be scared. We're not gonna care what our bosses at our job think. We're not gonna care what the people out there in the world think. You know, if anything, you know, we waiting for the deliverance. You know, we're waiting to be delivered out of here. You know, if we have to, you know, go back to the spiritual realm early, you know we had this truth. We had this truth in us. We passed with this truth. You know, and I can go into more. Maybe I'll do a part 2, but as of now, I got some things to take care of. So I hope you was edified. I hope you got something out of this, and hope to see you on the next video. Lord willing, shalom.